Niall, Tom Hitchcock here. How are you?
Good, Tom. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. Now, you and I have not spoken before, only electronically. Well, I suppose this is still electronic, isn't it, really?
Yeah,
um,
correct.
but just quickly, I'm picking up a bit of an accent there. Where you from?
So I'm from Tipperary, a town called Clonmel in the southeast of Ireland. So if you're familiar with Magner's Lager, that's our claim to fame. The next time you get a large bottle, you'll see Clonmel, County Tipperary. So I'm originally from there. I went to school, 20 minutes in Cash, and then moved to Dublin after uni. And after 2 years, came out to Australia. So I've been here since March 2023, and have been loving the country, and been lived in a few places. Lived in Wagga Wagga, lived in Sydney, lived in Melbourne, and I'm in Sydney now, as a matter of fact. So yeah, it's a lot different to Ireland.
There we are. So I'm curious. So I'm going to pick on the Magners. That's what I'm going straight in on. So something that all of us home nations people can lean into. I remember when I left the UK, which is many moons ago now, Magners started to become a good alternative to lagers. People coming off what I'd call a Nelson Mandela, which is a Stella. Okay, started drinking Magners everywhere. Is that still the case back home?
I think there's a bit of brand loyalty in Clonmel, but I know other people maybe stay away from it. I know it can be quite sugary. Like, I'd be actually more of a Guinness drinker myself, which is a challenge in itself in Australia, trying to find a decent pint. But yeah, it's good to see it, I guess, kind of out here. And it's actually called Bulmers in Ireland, so it also leads to confusion, because I know there's a Bulmers English cider as well. So it's it's all what you like, I guess.
I suppose it sounds a bit like the marathons and Snickers debate, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not even familiar with that one. Maybe I'm out of the list there.
I'm showing my age there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, here's one for you then. So this for the Irishman in the room. Okay, Guinness. What colour is Guinness?
It depends who you ask. Some people might say it's black. Some people are devout ruby red advocates. Because not apparently, if you hold it up to the light, there's that reddish hue which shows the iron content in it, which I don't know actually how high it is. There's the whole talk that when you gave blood in Ireland, you get a half pint of Guinness instead of the orange juice. There's talks they gave pregnant women a half pint to with their iron content. So that's why some people say it's ruby red, but it's again who you ask.
Yeah, well, so it's I got this question right in a pub quiz, and the answer was red.
Okay.
On the official colour is red, but obviously it goes black because it's viscous, if you like. Because you're quite right. You look at it pretty light, and its thinnest point is actually red.
Yeah.
That came from its origin, because what they tried to do is they tried to copy porter, which was the fashion in London at the time, and they messed it up. It didn't work, but they created this lovely drink now, which is more timeless than porter, and that's why it picks up that colour.
Yeah, I don't know what it says about the two of us when you get an English and Irish man talking, and the first thing they talk about is pints of cider and Guinness. But yeah, no, I'm always happy to do that. And I've been to a few pub quizzes over here and had a few pints. So if you're looking for Rex, I might be able to help you.
Yeah, lovely. I appreciate that. So, okay, all right. So you've been here 2023. So you've heard the term "fresh off the boat." Do you still qualify for that?
No, like I like to think I'm not, and kind of one of the reasons I was eager to come on and chat to you is because I'd like to maybe kind of impart a little bit of my knowledge of coming over here as a working holiday visa holder looking for job opportunities, because I know a lot of people, like I don't know if you spent too much time in Cudger, Ranwick, or St Kilda down in Melbourne. It's just you think you're in Cork or Dublin with all the accents going around. So it's quite common for a lot of people to come out here, and I think we do come out pretty fresh is a good word for it. Like, we're not really sure of what the realities are like. I know a lot of people come with the attitude that, oh, a friend of mine got a job here, he's going to help me get in. But that's kind of the kind of rare thing to happen. I know for me, it's been kind of a lesson in resilience. Um, I couldn't count how many jobs I've applied for, and like how many of them asked that question on the application form: what's your work rights? Will you require sponsorship in the future? Everything like that, and it's a kind of a one kind of rejection now I have. Like, I consider myself lucky that I've been able to do a few contracting roles down in Melbourne, and even like you have to kind of take the little wins, um, and even getting an interview. Because yeah, I had an incident with a company, actually Melbourne based, so I won't name them, a few weeks ago when I was in the interview. And they said on their website they offered sponsorship, and then they figured out my visa status on the call and stopped it dead. So it's definitely, I think the freshness, to answer your question, is kind of gone from me, and like it's different though. Like I kind of it's the first month or two, everything is a holiday, but then when you kind of get into Aussie living, it's even better than the holiday, and you kind of want to keep that going.
Mm.
So I hope that answered your question a little bit. I didn't ramble on too much on that.
No, that's all good. Rambling is good anyway, because I find with rambling, it gets really understand how people unpack things and think anyway.
Mm,
So okay, so I've been in Australia 13 years now. I still remember when I first came, and it does resonate with me what you said, with how long a holiday period lasts and then how
mm.
it feels afterwards, and the trials and tribulations. And the visa is a big, big one. I'm now a citizen. I,
Congrats.
yeah, which feels fantastic. Um, but I had all sorts of dramas with multiple visas all the way through
Mm,
to get to the point, and I just didn't know what was happening, and the financials, the uncertainty
mm,
of a shelf life, potentially on a life that you're building for yourself, and also the complexities around it's almost like a life audit of what
yeah,
needs to be in there. It's like I have no idea where to find half of this stuff.
yeah. No,
Horrendous.
that's 100% kind of a good way to put it. Like, I know my situation, like I came over quite confident, as a lot of people do. Like, I have a master's degree from Smurfit Business School in Dublin, which would be quite quite respected school. I have almost 2 years with EY at home, and I came out here with the expectation of kind of like there might be a few months where I'm kind of grafting, looking, and it's now I've gotten jobs and maybe things I haven't wanted to do, and they've only been contract, they haven't led to it. So I've always been on the lookout, but you kind of realize pretty quickly that you nearly need some other unique selling point, or you just need to get that strike of luck. You need to meet the right person at the right networking event or something like that. And it has gotten a little bit harder with the way the industry is in consulting at the moment. Like, the whole PwC, and like I have a contact in Deloitte in Melbourne, and he was asking around to me, but he was like, they just let 50 people go. They're not really looking for that. And then when you're kind of interviewing with the smaller companies that are hiring, it's not in their interest to take on someone who they need to sponsor when there's a whole kind of market of unemployed people with similar experience to you, maybe different outlooks. And I do like what you said about the whole life audit thing, because I'm in a precarious position now where I have 3 months left on this current visa. There's options, there's ways I'm looking at staying, but even went to an immigration agent a few months ago, or not a few months ago, a few weeks ago, and he was like, if you're going for 189, 190, which is kind of a self-sponsored PR route, I'm sure you know all about that yourself. He was like, for management consultancies, it's the most um, rejected kind of occupation on the skill assessment. I was like, here's another kind of hurdle, and it is frustrating. Like, I'm pulling pints at the moment. I'm not sure, do you know the Paddo Inn in Paddington?
Yeah,
And
yeah. Good pub. Good pub.
yeah, it is. I just got Guinness on the offering, so it's definitely coming up. But like, I'm in there, and it is like sort of frustrating when I guess 27 years of age is not kind of where I wanted to see my life, and to not 100% know where I'm going to be in 3 months' time. It is that audit, but again, it just comes back to resilience. It's kind of something I've surprised myself with since coming out here. Like I thought, like after the first few kind of rejections, you kind of get down, but then you realize asking around, like just evaluating what you want. If it's something really important to me, which this is, I kind of want to keep going and go to the very end. And I do have kind of options of like there's a recruitment company who said they may be able to help if we just get a contract long enough. You never know who you'll bump into. Like even the person who connected us, Sarah, like I just met her in passing and she decided she'd want to help. And it is great to have the Irish UK kind of network out here because everyone's always willing to help. So it's really nice, but there is that life audit and nearly trepidation and fear of, well, I could have to get on a plane in 3 months whether I like it or not. So yeah, it's kind of it would be nice just to give people at home that message, to definitely come out here, but just maybe be as upskilled and as possible. Don't rush it.
Yeah, I love all that. And I think for those people that maybe not necessarily needing to go through that same rigmarole, okay, there's a mindset around the uncertainty. So as you said, you don't know if in 3 months' time you need to leave the country or not. Okay, so it's very hard to build a life or meet a partner or anything like that if you got all that stuff around you.
Yeah.
And probably the most similar thing I can find to that for people that are not in that same or haven't been in that same situation is COVID. You know, people had uncertainty and they couldn't do anything. They couldn't. They didn't know when it was going to end, what it looked like. So if anybody can remember their mindset during that period, it's quite similar as to what you're going through now.
Yeah, I can't feel too as hard done by as people in COVID did because I chose to come out here at the same time, and it probably was a knee-jerk reaction to COVID coming out here. Like there was, like I know it was hard on everyone, but I think like finishing up uni and doing my master's all during COVID, that's a time when like my age group should have been kind of traveling and spreading our wings, but we were very much rooted to the ground. So I think coming out here was a knee-jerk response to that. So we nearly thrust ourselves from one uncertainty into another, which I never kind of looked at it that way. Like I thought coming out here was kind of getting away from that, but it is a funny way to look at it. But again, I probably wouldn't have changed the experience. Like there is options, and it's funny you said meeting a partner setting up life because I have met someone in Australia, but she's doing a master's in Macquarie Uni till the end of 2026. So again, there's that uncertainty of like kind of what's going to happen. Like maybe I go to New Zealand and then she'd move on to a visa that I could get onto. But again, it's like a spider diagram of different things coming off with if buts and maybes, and it's like I think I'm kind of firmly of the view that I look back at this time in 5 years and probably be thankful that I went through it, and it will have taught me a lot and kind of because I think everything was not, I wouldn't say easy for me. Like I worked for my undergrad and masters and I got a good job, but like it was do the interview, got the job, turn up. Like there wasn't too much going against me to do that. Like especially being in Ireland, your work rights are there. So I'm trying to take positives out of all these kind of uncertainties and these rejections, and like I feel like I'm beating myself a little bit there, but yeah, it's just all kind of coming back to it.
It sounds so what I like, so people talk about resilience and what have you, but resiliency is a nice title we can give to a behavior, but people don't really share too much the techniques to be resilient. And one of the techniques is exactly what you've just displayed and touched on, is to actually see the positive in everything. So in the worst case scenario, what's the positive in the worst case scenario? And if you work backwards from there, then your resilience is going to be heightened. It's almost like having, metaphorically speaking, like being stress-free, so your immune system's high. You make yourself more resilient in that sense as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think it is just finding what works for you. Like just before I was meeting with you, I was in the gym, and I know exercise is is a big thing. I do like running, but this I only moved up from Melbourne 2 months ago, and the Sydney heat is different. So going for a run is less of an option, especially when you're pulling pints till 1 a.m. It's hard to get up at 6 or 7 to beat the heat. But yeah, no, that definitely is like I know some people have reading, like some people have going for a few pints, which is definitely something I partake in as well. But like I think those things are they definitely help and they help manage the stress and manage the problems, but it's kind of you need to be able to find some light at the end of the tunnel because those things are just band-aids, I think. And I think my light is that I know something will work out. If it is staying here, great, and that's plan A. But like I've already thought about a plan B and a plan C, and like they'd be really good and really good life kind of experiences and life options, whether it's go to New Zealand, go to Asia. If I had to go back home for a little bit, it would it's kind of just it's working towards what I want, and like it's that type of thing. It's if it's easy, it's probably not worth doing. Um, so yeah, it's kind of I'm nearly talking this out with you. I'm learning kind of more about stuff I've been doing without realizing that's kind of what I've been doing, which is really interesting.
Well, I picked out another nugget for myself. So thanks for the nuggets. Keep them coming. Just keep them flowing, mate. But I liked your nugget, which I picked up on, is on humility.
Mm,
Okay. So obviously you've got your eyes and your prize, and you've got a longer term vision. But you also had to accept there's things you need to do to obviously keep a roof over your head between now and then, and to keep things moving. Which, given you've come from a very strong employer, you've got a very strong degree with your masters, all the stars are aligned there. Then these roles, for some people, would think they're beneath them because
mm.
they're destined for something else. Um, and I don't pick that from you. What I do pick is that you understand what they are and you're going to throw yourself into them wholeheartedly anyway.
Mm.
But that's that humility which I think stands out. So, you've got to be prepared to do what you need to do to get where you're going.
Yeah, no, and I think that just kind of comes back to my upbringing in the sense like I am fortunate that if I know if things went bad here, like I have parents who'd be able to put me on a plane or be able to send me a bit of money, but like I'm happy to say they haven't. And like I can just put it back to like when I was in my undergrad, like my dad works in the meat factory, so he got me in the meat factory in my summers, and that's like 12-hour days loading beef onto a kind of dark, smelly back of a lorry, and kind of coming out here with that type of work ethic. Even though like pulling pints and also did construction isn't what I wanted to do, like I am kind of proud that I made my own way in, and like again, it's helped that I haven't ever looked at it as like kind of something I'm doing permanently. Like, and it that like it's not permanent, but um, it's there's no kind of end in sight. It's really hard to explain that, and I have been lucky that been able to make connections, like especially in Melbourne, that when I got a contract, whether it would be with ANZ or CLX or Leave Plus, that once they ended it, there's a bar who I had a good relationship with who were able to take me back, and then moving up here, they had connections together. And like I think I'm I love building those connections because I think there's one connection that will get me where I want to be. I just haven't found it yet, and I just keep kind of going out and talking to people, and like I put myself in rooms with interesting people. I like joined communities. I became part of a rugby club down in Melbourne, which I loved, and I wanted to do the same here. Um, but yeah, I think that's how I think that's how a lot of us have been since we've come out here. We've had that reality check. I know some people just said, "All right, I'm kind of better than this," and went home, or they um they went somewhere else, or they kind of looked at it really as a holiday, and like that's fair enough. Like each to their own, but like I am proud of kind of how I've not to like I know you said humility, but I'm proud of how like I've taken those jobs, and like it could be worse. Like I'm working in a fun pub in Sydney, meeting interesting people. It's not like I'm going in on the bus crying every day either. But again, yeah, it's not what I want to be doing. It's not what I went to uni for 5 years and worked to do. But like I'm lucky that I have a job and a way to support myself here too.
Good. So it's all part of the journey. It makes for a nice
Exactly,
story.
exactly, and yeah,
I
I know.
think the other thing I picked up as well is for people to really do their research. Yeah, especially you go to the other side of the world or into a culture that you're less familiar with,
Mm,
is to really know what it is you're walking into.
yeah.
So the legalities around the different types of visas, the location, the currency. You know, I'll tell you a quick story. When I first came here, I misunderstood the rents. Okay, so what was so back in the UK, we pay monthly rent. That's how
Mm,
it goes. And so when I was applying for places in Surrey Hills, it was, I saw the price and I assumed that was monthly. But
okay.
it's not too bad. It wasn't bad. And then this place wouldn't accept me, and it's like a 12 grand deposit or something. I'm like, what? How have you done this maths? And they told me, I was like, so that amount is per week.
Mm,
And that was so when I had all these lofty visions in my head, places I'll be staying at, all the people
uh,
that come round and the parties and whatever. I ended up living in a shoebox,
mm,
'cause that's what I could afford in reality. And if I'd done my research before, then I
yeah.
would have rented that ever.
And I like that is definitely important. But and I do think we are quite lucky as being where we're from that when we come out here, whether you know someone or not who can kind of help you, you'll get to know them. And like people say to me, "Oh, you're like so brave coming out here by yourself." But like when I landed in Melbourne initially, I had a mate who put me on his floor for 2 weeks. And like there was always someone to kind of help. And like people have come and gone, but then you make new connections, and then you're that person who can help someone. Like a mate of my brother's is moving over from Sheffield. I gave him a whole list of things to do, and I was happy to be able to impart that because yeah, like it is even though people speak English here and everything, there's definitely things that they do differently here than we do, and that's in all walks. Like even when you're working in an office, there's like different ways to do things. Even the transport here, like I would have never seen myself in Dublin taking two buses and a light rail to get anywhere. It was either one bus you drive or it's too far away. So but like again, it's something I love. Like I think you look at the reason why so many people have come over here. Like sure, there's a cost of living thing here too, but I think it's tenfold in Dublin, and I know London isn't meant to be too much better. So I again, I'd come back to if I was giving advice to people, I'd definitely say, yeah, take the plunge, but just know everything. Like have your research done, because like I know if I could go back in time, I would look at doing the whole 189 190 thing the day I landed instead of doing it 6 months from time. Because if I started it earlier, like there's a lot of documents, and it's not a definite of doing, because like I did go do my regional work for 3 months, but like while I was there doing little else when I wasn't working, I could have been doing that. So it's it's one of those things like easy to say if, but it's that opportunity is gone. But even if I could tell somebody else coming out now tomorrow to maybe look into that, that would be kind of value added.
Yeah. So the lessons learned from hindsight. Okay. So we're wrapping this up now.
Mm,
Someone's listening to this, it resonates. Maybe they're looking to emigrate to Australia. Okay, and I wouldn't mind picking your brains. And by the sounds of it, you're probably welcome this anyway.
mm.
What's the best way for them to make contact with you now?
So I'm on LinkedIn as NIALL CAMPION. There isn't a manualist in the world as far as I know, but if you can't find it, then nrcampion@gmail.com would get me.
Fantastic, and hopefully, by giving some kindness out there in the sense that you are, then other opportunities will present themselves to you as well, and we can keep you a bit longer.
Absolutely, big believer in karma. So hoping putting something positive out there will bring it back my way. Thanks very much for the opportunity to speak as well, Tom. I've really enjoyed it.
You're more than welcome. It's very enjoyable, and there's lots of nuggets there for people to benefit from. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
See ya.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching this episode. I hope that you did enjoy it, had lots of takeaways from it. As before, please subscribe below so you can keep on top of any new releases we have. And also, if you would like to have your story told, just reach out with me and I'd love to give you that platform. My best email address is tom@purplepatchconsulting.com. Thank you.